When I was 19, I submitted my application to the church for missionary service, and I got the call to serve in Sweden. When I got there, my mission president assigned me to an area really far north, close to the Arctic Circle, for about 6 months in the middle of the winter. Now, there was an experience that I remember very vividly where my companion and I were out tracting. My shoes were falling apart underneath me. It's so cold, I've got icicles on my eyelashes and coming out my nose. And we go and knock on this door, and this lady answers it wrapped in the biggest blanket I've ever seen and looks at us like we're crazy and says, "What are you doing out there? It's so cold." And we say, "Well, we're missionaries with the Church of Jesus Christ. We have a message about Jesus. Is it okay if we come in and share it with you?" And she says, "No, it's cold. Go away." And she slams the door on us. And we continue tracting for about 5 hours without finding anyone. Now, we look back on this often, actually, and we laugh about it together. Why is it that we look back on this time with smiles on our face when honestly it was awful? Well, there's this concept called the three types of fun. This was coined by outdoorists and people that like to rate things like rock climbs, ski hills, and hikes. They wanted a way to classify the kinds of experiences that they were having. Type 1 fun is what you think of as classical fun. It's game nights, it's lunch dates, it's going to movies with your friends. You wonder why Disneyland is called the happiest place on earth? Well, it's because it's all type 1 fun. It's easy to have fun there. That's the whole point. Type 2 fun is a little bit different. It's not fun while it's happening, but it is fun to remember. Type 2 fun is anything that is physically, mentally, or emotionally demanding of you. I'd say that my missionary service, most of it was type 2 fun. There were days I'd come home crying and my journal's all sad, but I look back on it and I'm like, wow, that experience was incredible. I could maybe even go for another month of that. It was so fulfilling for me to be able to share my faith with other people and to live in a foreign country and speak a foreign language. It was so unique and I love it. You wonder why marathon runners or mountain climbers never shut up about the things that they do? Well, it's because it's type 2 fun. It's because it's really hard and very rewarding. Type 3 fun is a little bit misleading because it's not fun while it's happening, but it's also not fun to remember. Type 3 fun is basically type 2 fun and then something really bad happens. Apollo 13 is a classical example of type 3 fun. This is where we get the phrase, "Houston, we have a problem." 3 astronauts go up into space, their oxygen tanks ignite, and crews on Earth have to figure out how to get them home alive. They all made it home alive. However, I don't think anybody that manned the Apollo 13 mission looks back on it and says, "I would love to go back to that. That was wonderful." Absolutely not. It was a horrible experience. It was type 3 fun. It wasn't fun. Now, when people look back on the glory days, do they look back on their game nights or their lunch dates? No, they look back on their hard things. High school, college, are those fun? No, but they're fun to remember, right? Because they're fulfilling, because you learned something from it, because you gained something. Terry Crews once said, "I am constantly getting out of my comfort zone. Looking cool is the easiest way to mediocrity. The coolest guy in my high school ended up working at a car wash." Once you push yourself into something new, a whole new world of opportunities opens up. But you might get hurt. In fact, you will get hurt. But amazingly, when you heal, you'll be somewhere you've never been before. Now, can you imagine the kind of world we'd live in and the kind of experiences we would have if we decided that we wanted to have type 2 fun more often? If we said to our friends and families, instead of doing a game night, why don't we build some IKEA furniture? Instead of going to Disneyland, why don't we go on a long road trip? Instead of going on a lunch date, why don't we give some service to someone? These are not always fun when they're happening, but they are fulfilling to remember. Spencer W. Kimball said about service, "We become more substantive when we serve others. Indeed, it's easier to find ourselves because there's so much more of us to find." And I'd echo that works with type 2 fun as well. A lot of people shy away from type 2 fun because it feels way too close to type 3. They wonder, am I going to get something out of this? Is it going to be worth it? Or am I just going to end up hurt and sad? I think that type 2 experiences can shape our lives in ways that we never saw coming. Barry Blanchard, one of North America's most accomplished alpinists, said, "It doesn't have to be fun to be fun." And I found that in my life, when I allow myself to choose type 2 experiences and push myself into maybe a little bit of an uncomfortable position, I come out of that learning so much more about myself and about the people that I spent that time with. Type 2 fun can really change our lives if we let ourselves be uncomfortable and experience it.